Taking the train is by far the best way to travel around Europe. Train travel is comfortable and often highly scenic, can be as affordable as flying, and allows you to experience a country's culture and geography, helping you understand the world far better than you would from a bus or plane. In this video, I'll show you just how epic a long-distance train journey can be as we travel through 5 countries in the heart of Eastern and Central Europe.
Hello viewers and welcome to the railway station of Bucharest, Gara de Nord. Today we'll be traveling by train from Romania all the way to Poland. It will be a great travel adventure across Eastern and Central Europe on a trip that will take about 34 hours.
Let's take a look at the map to see the journey we will make. There were many possible routes I could have taken, but I ended up booking a journey that begins with a train from Bucharest to Brașov. In Brașov, I will board the Corona night train to Budapest. In the Hungarian capital, I will change to a train to Břeclav in the Czech Republic, where I will make my final connection to a train bound for Wrocław. So let's start our train journey to Poland. The trip begins at Bucharest Gara de Nord, the main railway station of Romania's capital city. There are plenty of shops, cafes and fast food outlets at this rather dilapidated station if you want a bite or need to stock up on food and drinks for the journey ahead. You can even buy pirate hats and Orthodox icons, essential travel items for a train journey in Romania. My train to Brașov is reversed into the terminus station of Bucharest Gara de Nord. In typical Romanian fashion, it already has a 25-minute delay, and we haven't even departed yet. Let's board this InterRegio train of CFR, the Romanian National Railway Company. This train offers first-class seating in a 1+2 configuration and second-class seating in a 2+2 configuration. Both are fairly comfortable and should give you access to a power socket, though you shouldn't expect much more in terms of facilities on these CFR trains. I'm seated in second class. After a further 10-minute delay, we have finally started our journey to Brașov. For this 2.5-hour journey from Bucharest to Brașov, I paid 65 Romanian lei, which is around €13. The first half of this 166-kilometer journey to Brașov across the Wallachian Plain is rather boring. However, after stops in the oil city of Ploiești and in Câmpina, the station you can see here, the journey becomes much more enjoyable. We are now slowly climbing into the foothills of the Carpathian Mountains through the Prahova Valley. On this summer day, the weather in the Carpathians is quite different from the sweltering hot Wallachian Plain, and it is even beginning to rain. After a while, we reach the magnificent station of Sinaia, the most important mountain resort town in this part of the Carpathians. The great thing about train travel is that you can easily stop over and explore somewhere. Sinaia is perfect for this, as it is home to Palace Castle, the stunning summer residence of the former royal family of Romania. I don't have time for sightseeing on this trip, so I stay on the train as we continue our journey to Brașov. This railway line through the upper reaches of the Prahova Valley is one of the most scenic in Romania. The mountain views and some of the old station buildings along this railway line, such as this one in Poiana Țapului, almost make you feel as if you were in the Swiss Alps. Around Bușteni, the station we are now approaching, the mountain views are at their most dramatic. With good visibility, you can easily spot the peaks of the Bucharest Mountains, as this part of the Carpathians is known. The most clearly recognizable peak is Kármán, at an altitude of 2,384 meters above sea level, marked by a large summit cross that is even visible from the railway line. The best views along this part of the railway line are on your left hand side, or from the vestibule of the last coach, where I am standing now. Although the train to Brașov is certainly not fast, it is usually quicker than traveling by car due to the frequent traffic jams in Bucharest and on the single road that links these Carpathian towns. We are now approaching the station of Predeal. Located 1034 meters above sea level, Predeal is the highest passenger railway station in Romania. Predeal also marks the Carpathian watershed and the boundary between the regions of Wallachia and Transylvania. From here, the railway line descends through tunnels and horseshoe curves along the forested northern slope of the mountains towards Brașov. On this downhill stretch, the best views are on the right-hand side of the train. Eventually, the valley widens and we leave the mountains behind us. We seem to have made up a bit of time en route, as the final delay on arrival in Brașov is back to just 25 minutes, which by Romanian standards is not too bad. As I have just under 4 hours until the departure of my next train, let's have a look at Brașov's communist era station, which is currently undergoing extensive renovation of its platforms and tracks. I could have made a quick dash by bus or taxi into Brașov's lovely old town, but I decided instead to linger with the local alcoholics at the old school station bar. For a bottle of local Čukaš beer, I paid just 5.5 lei, that's €1.10. I'm now waiting for the arrival of my next train, as the sun slowly sets and hundreds of birds screech in the sky. And there she is, the night train to Budapest is shunted into the station of Brașov. This sleeper train is called the Corona and is operated by MÁV, the Hungarian Railways. The name Corona has nothing to do with the Mexican beer or the virus, it is simply the Latin name for the city of Brașov and means crown. There are quite a few other night trains on this route, such as the Easter, which links Bucharest and Brașov with Budapest, and the Dacia, which links Bucharest and Brașov with Budapest and Vienna. Unlike the Hungarian-operated Corona, these night trains are all operated by CFR, the Romanian Railways. Let's climb on board the sleeper car of the Corona night train. A sleeper compartment on this train can be booked on a shared basis as a triple or double, or for private use as a single, which is what I did. I'll give a full tour of the compartment a little later. Besides sleepers, the Corona night train also has standard second-class seats, as well as 4 and 6 berth couchette compartments, which you are seeing now. It's time to depart Brașov on our long journey to Budapest, which will take around 16 hours to cover the 800-kilometer route. Taking the Corona is not the fastest way to travel by train from Romania to Hungary, as unlike other daytime and night trains it follows a rather roundabout route. This is because the Corona makes a detour through the Czech Republic, the part of Transylvania with an ethnic Hungarian majority, which is the raison d'être of this night train service. As a result, most other passengers on the Corona night train are predominantly Hungarian, rather than Romanian or foreign tourists. Indeed, most passengers will only board later in majority Czech towns and cities, such as Nyíregyháza, known as Csíkszereda in Hungarian. There are some reasons why I usually take this train instead of faster options on my regular journeys between Romania and Hungary. One reason is the opening windows, from which you can get some fresh air and take in the scenery. Or what about the complimentary goodies you get in the sleeper car, which include bottled water, apple juice, nuts, a traditional Hungarian chocolate snack, and even some Hungarian sparkling wine. Yet by far the best of all is a proper dining car that is attached to the Corona night train for the entire journey between Brașov and Budapest. It's a great place for a drink, snack or a full meal. Of course, I sat down for dinner, as in my opinion no train travel experience is better than enjoying a meal in the dining car while watching the scenery pass by. The MÁV dining car menu offers plenty of international favorites, but I would recommend sampling the Hungarian dishes. I had a bowl of goulash as a starter, which is always delicious. For my main, I went for the pork with lecho, a vegetable ragu, which came in a generous portion and certainly hit the spot as well. It was great to watch the beautiful landscape of the Czech Republic pass by during the dinner service. I know this off-the-beaten-path region of Romania quite well and can highly recommend it if you are looking for a beautiful and interesting place to visit. Sadly, the best views of this stunning railway line come after dark if you travel westbound, which is why it's better to take the Corona night train in the other direction, so you can enjoy the scenery in the morning daylight. We are now arriving in Bajlatusnad, called Tusnadföldő in Hungarian, nestled in the deep forests of Harghita County, where brown bears are common in the wild. This spa town is renowned for its quality mineral waters. As the sun was slowly setting, I drank the last of my bottle of Hungarian red wine. I couldn't resist a dessert, so I ordered some palacinta, Hungarian pancakes with chocolate. This was an excellent 3-course meal, and with a bottle of wine and a bottle of sparkling water, the total came to just €37, which I think is great value. Time to return to my sleeper compartment and settle in for a good night's sleep. So let's take a look around my vintage sleeper compartment, which is fairly basic but perfectly comfortable. This sleeper car was built in 1985 by the Görlitz wagon factory in what was then communist East Germany. Each compartment has a washstand, with a mirror opening to reveal a storage compartment, where you will also find a power socket. The tabletop folds open to reveal a sink underneath, with hot and cold water. Everything in the compartment certainly feels a bit old, but it all works, and at least the mattress and bedding are clean and of good quality. There is plenty of storage space for your bags in your compartment, either in the overhead luggage racks or on the floor. In your compartment, you will also find a coat rack and buttons to turn the main lights and reading lights on and off. On the door, there are 2 locks and a door chain, so you can sleep at night reassured that your belongings are safe. These locks only work from the inside, so when you leave the compartment for the dining car, just ask the carriage attendant to lock the door behind you while you are away. Toilets are shared and can be found at both ends of each coach. The toilet is basic, but despite its grubby appearance it was clean, with water, soap and toilet paper provided. After a great night's sleep, I woke up the following morning in Hungary. This is one of my favorite aspects of night train travel, waking up to scenery completely different from the night before. Indeed, the Puszta, the Great Hungarian Plain, could not have been more different from the hills and forests of Transylvania. Having freshened myself up using the washstand in my compartment, I headed to the dining car. If you travel in a sleeper car, breakfast is included in the fare. I chose the scrambled eggs with ham, along with some apple juice and a coffee. Following the excellent breakfast, I returned to my sleeper compartment. On its journey towards Budapest, the Corona night train makes several stops at Hungarian stations, including Debrecen, Hungary's second largest city after Budapest, and the important junction station of Břeclav. We are now approaching the city of Szolnok, another important junction station. I just love the opening windows on this train, as the rickety tracks and the sound of the braking locomotive give off such a classic railway vibe. Let's take a moment to appreciate these sounds as we roll into Szolnok's communist-era station. Do take a look at that gorgeous Bézsmat Szervezet railcar from the early 1980s on the opposite platform. After our stop at Szolnok, it is full speed again as we run non-stop towards Budapest, which is about 1 hour away from here. As we approach the outskirts of Budapest, let's briefly look at how much this train costs. For a single sleeper compartment on the Corona night train, I paid just 42,560 Hungarian forint, which is around €110. This represents excellent value, especially considering that breakfast was included in the fare. Needless to say, sharing a 2 or 3 berth sleeper or a 4 or 6 berth couchette compartment would work out even cheaper. We are now arriving at Budapest Keleti pályaudvar, which simply means Budapest Eastern Railway Station. Budapest Keleti is one of the most stunning stations in all of Europe, and arriving beneath its majestic train shed while leaning out of an open train window is an absolute treat.
So here we are at Budapest Keleti station, and now it's time to walk across town to the other station, Budapest Nyugati, to catch my onward train that will take me to Poland.
My train from Brașov arrived right on time at Budapest Keleti station at 10 in the morning. As I had built in a 3-hour buffer until the departure of my onward train from Budapest Nyugati station, I had plenty of time for the crosstown transfer. That meant I could even spend a little longer admiring the beautiful facade of Keleti station. To get from Budapest Keleti to Budapest Nyugati station, you can take a bus, the metro or a taxi. Given that I had plenty of time and was traveling light, carrying only a small rucksack, I simply decided to walk through the beautiful streets of Budapest. After a 40-minute walk, I arrived at Budapest Nyugati station, which simply means Budapest Western Railway Station.
So here we are at beautiful Budapest Nyugati station. Let's catch our next train.
Budapest Nyugati is another gorgeous classic railway station. The station opened in 1877 and was built by the Eiffel Company, founded by Gustav Eiffel, the designer of the Eiffel Tower. The main international connections from Budapest Nyugati are the trains running northwest towards Bratislava, Brno, Prague and Berlin. And there is my next ride, the EuroCity Metropolitan train to Prague, which I will take as far as Břeclav. This train is operated by ČD or České dráhy, the Czech National Railways, easily recognizable by their blue and white livery. Let's take a look on board, starting with first class, which features seats in a 2+1 configuration. I'm booked in second class and paid €25 for my ticket, which includes not only the Budapest to Břeclav leg, but also the connecting train from Břeclav to Wrocław. Second class is either arranged in 6-seat side compartments or in open-plan saloon cars with a 2+2 layout. Right on time at 1:30, the EuroCity Metropolitan train departs Budapest Nyugati station on its journey to Bratislava and Prague. I will remain on board this train for 3.5 hours until we reach the station of Břeclav, shortly after crossing the Slovak-Czech border. As it was lunchtime, I headed straight to the excellent Czech dining car on this train rather than to my seat. While I was pondering what to order, the train left the outskirts of Budapest behind as we made our way northwest towards Hungary's border with Slovakia. During the first hour of the journey, the train calls at several Hungarian stations, including Nagymaros Visegrád, Sop and Vác, which we are arriving at now. Sadly, the dining car windows were pretty dirty, and combined with a bright summer sun, it made it hard to get any good quality shots. You want to make sure you're seated on the left-hand side in the direction of travel on this railway line from Budapest to Bratislava. That way, you'll catch beautiful glimpses of the Danube and see landmarks such as the hilltop Visegrád Castle and the Basilica of Esztergom on the opposite riverbank. After a while, my lunch arrived, beginning with a delicious tomato cream soup. For my main course, I had ordered the svíčková, a traditional Czech dish of thinly sliced sirloin steak with bread dumplings in a cream sauce. I washed it all down with 2 or 3 glasses of excellent Pilsner Urquell, which is served on tap in this dining car. It was another great meal on a train, this time costing around €22, including the couple of beers. Sturovo, our first stop in Slovakia, just across the border from Hungary. From this moment, the ride started to become a bit more boring, as the terrain was as flat as a pancake, with the landscape mostly consisting of agricultural fields. On the plus side, it meant we were able to pick up speed compared to the stretch before in Hungary. Nové Zámky is a major stop in Slovakia, and a train filled with domestic passengers, almost all heading to Bratislava. From Nové Zámky, the Slovak capital of Bratislava is just an hour away. However, with the exception of crossing the River Váh, the longest river within Slovakia, the journey was not particularly exciting. After a while, we approached the outskirts of Bratislava. With seemingly half the train getting up to disembark, we pulled into Bratislava Hlavná stanica, the main railway station of the Slovak capital. Bratislava is a busy stop, with just as many people on the platform waiting to board our train as we're ready to disembark. After leaving Bratislava, it was just over an hour more to the Czech border and the station of Břeclav, where I had to change trains. Although I was enjoying the ride, I began to worry about making my connection. Due to track works, only one of the double-track railway lines was in use, and at times our train was traveling at an agingly slow speed. We were running 20 minutes late, and I only had 5 minutes to make the connection, although I could also see online that the train to Poland I was connecting to was delayed by 10 minutes. Would they hold the connection for me? I didn't want to miss my onward train, since that would have meant arriving at my destination at least 3 hours later than scheduled. As we rolled into Břeclav station, I was relieved to see the Polish train on the opposite side of the platform, and I sprinted across to catch it. Phew, that was a close call. This Polish EuroCity train is the fourth and final one on my long journey from Romania to Poland, with 4 hours and 15 minutes remaining until I reach my destination. The train is second class only, with seats arranged in 6-seat side compartments. Because I booked this train late, just 2 weeks before traveling, I could only reserve a seat from the Czech-Polish border station of Bohemín to Wrocław, as all seats were already reserved on the earlier parts of the journey. That meant I had to stand or use the fold-out chairs in the aisle for the next 2 hours until we reached Bohemín. It's not ideal, but I much prefer the Central European system of optional seat reservations to the compulsory reservation system in countries like Spain and France. After all, it's better to be standing in the aisle on the train than standing on the station platform, being unable to travel because the train is fully booked. The ride across Moravia, as this region in the east of the Czech Republic is known, is certainly pleasant. However, some track works on the railway line here meant that at times the speeds were slow, and once again we picked up a bit of a delay. After 2 hours, we approached Bohemín station, the last stop in the Czech Republic before the Polish border. This EuroCity train, which had originated in Vienna, is split here at Bohemín. The main part of the train continues east to Krakow, while the through carriages for Wrocław, in one of which I was seated, are detached at Bohemín to form a separate train heading west. Make sure you are seated in the right coach, as you don't want to be accidentally taken to an entirely different destination. With beautiful pastel sunset colors in the sky above us, we crossed the border into Poland and made our way across the region of Silesia towards Wrocław. Fortunately, I was finally able to move into my reserved window seat in the compartment, which was far more comfortable than the fold-out seats in the aisle where I had spent the last 2 hours. Before we reached Wrocław, we still had a good 2 hours of travel remaining, during which we would stop in Polish towns and cities such as Żałobki, Racibórz and Opole. Fortunately, we made some good progress, and I even dozed off for a while once it got dark outside, being tired of the long travel day. Wrocław Główny station, the final stop of this train and the end of my journey. After an epic 34 hours traveling just over 1,000 miles by train across Eastern and Central Europe, I had finally reached my destination. Even though I had a slight scare about missing one of my connections and arrived with a 30-minute delay, it had been a fantastic trip. I could have taken a flight for more or less the same amount of money, but the experience would have paled in comparison to the train journey. In the end, nothing beats the adventure of crossing the Carpathians by train, going to sleep in your own compartment, and enjoying fine food in the dining car as the world passes by. Besides, it felt special to arrive at a true railway cathedral like this iconic Wrocław station, a feeling you certainly will not get when disembarking from a plane at the airport. If you have never done a proper long-distance train journey, you really should give it a go. It's an experience you will never forget. Thanks for watching, and please remember to like this video, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Here at Paliparan, the road goes on forever and the journey never ends.